government to start paying electricity bills for the vulnerable before the end of this year. A reduction in fires recorded, and in sports, major prizes in the offing as the David Thompson Memorial Tournament kicks off this month.
Credible, balanced, committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
A very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Lord with the Saturday, October 1st edition of the CBC Evening News. In our top story tonight, a $5 million energy grant will ease the burden of those vulnerable Barbadians before the end of the year. This grant is being provided by the Ministry of Social Care and Constituency Empowerment. It will serve those in communities who are unemployed, disabled, and those over the age of 65. The application process will begin on October 10th this year, and individuals should apply through their respective constituency councils. Minister of Social Care and Constituency Empowerment Steve Blackett says the funding will be distributed through the Island Welfare Department and paid to the Barbados Light and Power Company Limited.
Payments will also be made by the Welfare Department, and as usual, the officers are expected to show their accustomed sympathy to those people who present for assistance. Now, any agreed payments will be made directly to the Barbados Light and Power Company Limited for a short period for qualifying persons and subject to review. Now, we have also collaborated with the Barbados Light and Power Company and will together monitor the process as it is rolled out.
Well, Minister Blackett says those who are unemployed must be able to provide several documents upon request, including their national identification card.
Unemployed persons applying for assistance must show proof of up-to-date registration with the National Employment Bureau before presenting the application. And the Barbados identity card, of course, of the applicant, of his or her representative where applicable, as well as original electricity bills must be presented to the Welfare Department or Constituency Council when the application is made. Now, we want to warn that any irregular or unsubstantiated claims will not be processed.
The Barbados Fire Service is reporting a reduction in the number of fires for the year so far as compared to 2010. Word of this from Chief Fire Officer Wilfred Marshall. He made the disclosure last evening while delivering the feature address at the Chief Fire Officers Parade and Award Ceremony at the Arch Hall Fire Station. Damien Best has the details.
Local fire officers have been praised for their dedication and commitment to the service and communities across Barbados. To that end, some were presented with tokens of appreciation in a ceremony to mark the 56th anniversary week of activities. In his address, Chief Fire Officer Wilfred Marshall reported that there was a 47% reduction in fires for the year so far.
The commercial building fires were 20 in 2010. In 2011, there are 18. Private dwelling house fires this time last year were 109. To date, we are 73, a reduction of 33%. Sugar canes last year, 154. To date, 65.
One of the grievances of the men and women of the service is the lack of promotions and appointments. Mr. Marshall says there are officers who were recruited in 2005 and 2006, but they are yet to be appointed.
Except for the current Chief Fire Officer, no promotions have been made since 2006. Officers have been retiring, and this has been creating acting positions at the upper and middle sections of this organization, but is at the same time reducing the number of fire officers available for operational tasks. This has led to growing frustration among the rank and file within the service, as they have to achieve organizational goals with less human capacity. This lethargy has also caused the recruitment process to be retarded. The fire service is depleted by almost 10% of its establishment, and as stated already, this is placing a tremendous burden on our human resources.
The fire chief also gave an update on Operation Escape Bridgetown, an initiative to improve fire safety in the city.
During the past 9 months, over 196 businesses in the Tudor Street and Swan Street areas have been surveyed with the view of further engaging these entities, providing advice and training for their staff members. In this regard, I have to thank the General Insurance Association of Barbados for providing over $7,000 Barbados dollars in office equipment, which should be used in this project.
The Barbados Fire Service Week of Activities concluded today with a family fun day at its headquarters on Probin Street. Damien Best, CBC News.
Barbados and the region must step up to the plate and satisfy the demand of those who fall below academic standards. That's according to Regional Manager of City and Guilds, Reverend Guy Hewitt. He made the comments during a stakeholders briefing session at the Courtyard Marriott in Hastings last evening. Reverend Hewitt says more technical vocational training must be provided to young people.
We need to know what industry wants. We need to know what skills and competencies are in demand, and we need to supply that. No longer can we just train for training's sake. Somebody leaves school, no qualifications or not enough, go and do a course. We need to be able to say to people, this course can lead you to this career opportunity. And what we have to do is to also tell them that once you start here, this is not the end. There's a possibility for continuous learning.
Reverend Hewitt says a quarter of the children who go through the secondary school system acquire an acceptable amount of certificates.
The vast majority of them, the largest cohort, leave school with none. Next to them is a cohort that gets one. These people are turned out of the system, and after that, with the exception of opportunities through the SJPP and other places that are being overwhelmed with persons with 5 or more qualifications now, the opportunities for them are limited. And we need to ask ourselves, what do we do about it? And more so, we need to be able to understand that there are consequences of not addressing it.
There has been a drop in tourist arrivals for the month of September. President and Chief Executive Officer of the Barbados Tourism Authority, David Rice, confirmed this during an interview with CBC News. He says an example of this reduction is in visitor arrivals from New York. Mr. Rice has also revealed that American Airlines has reduced the number of weekly flights to Barbados from 9 to 7.
What has happened to us is that the JetBlue, who has certainly gained from that additional capacity, but the capacity has not been translated into visitors. The capacity is translated into total passengers, people that may come for business, locals returning home. And so to the airline, that is important to them. Seat being filled is important to them, and we can understand that. But for us, of course, the visitor component has to be one where we're able to continue to balance the mix between passenger and visitor. So September really created for us that change and the nuances of business as it pertains to anyone from an airline perspective being happy that their loads were up, but for us the visitor was changed, the visitor component was changed.
Mr. Rice was, however, quick to indicate that arrivals for October are expected to fill any fall-off from the previous month. The BTA head says with 2 months left in the year, there is still plenty of work to be done to ensure that Barbados records significant growth in the sector for 2011.
We need to fill more seats. We need to have more hotels filled. But I think that one of the things that we are able to look at as well as part of the trends is that you're seeing a change in several things. Length of stay has changed. People are not staying as long as they used to stay. So the traditional UK visitor who stayed for 2 weeks doesn't stay for 2 weeks anymore. We understand, or we should understand, that the economic situation in that country has made that what it is today. Age demographic has changed, and also, as I mentioned, the accommodation mix has changed. And we have to respond to that.
Well, a major wholesale company in Puerto Rico has entered into a deal with Liat, which allows its passengers free membership for 1 day. The agreement with Costco is part of a package included in Liat's direct flights and vacations to San Juan, which starts in December. On a recent familiarization tour, supervisor at Costco, Luis Ortiz, told CBC News it's called a day pass exclusively for those flying on Liat.
We can do a specific one-day pass to the peoples of Barbados and members of Liat. Every client to fly the Liat Barbados to San Juan, we can get a one-day pass with Costco. You don't need a membership card in 1 day, so you can buy everything. At membership prices. Yeah, at membership prices.